Hi everyone, my name's Lily and I'm the book reviewer behind Utopia State of Mind, and today we're going to chat all about Emily Henry. By the way, I just want to say a few things first of all. First, these were only talking about the adult romances for Emily Henry. I know Emily Henry has written some other YA books, but we're only chatting about the adult romances. Secondly, this is part of a series where I do the all about. So today we're doing all about Emily Henry adult romance style, where I chat about all of my feelings about all of the ones. I tell you my favorite ones and sort of what I thought about each one of them. And by the way, another third thing the last thing I'm going to say before I start off is that everybody's opinions are subjective. I'm sorry if I don't like or I hate your favorites. Apologies in advance. So, I read a Beach Read. I think I actually read Beach Read just when it came out, but before the next one came out, which is I think People We Meet on Vacation. And I really enjoyed Beach Read. It's been so long that I don't even remember how I initially felt when I finished reading it, but I really liked it. I loved the spice. The spice was really good in this one. I can't get over two authors who have to live in neighboring beach houses, and they also, one thing leads to another, ... I would just like to say that of all the Emily Henry books, the ones with book characters are my favorite. So, for example, this one has authors. In Book Lovers, it is an agent and an editor. So can't give you my raw reactions after finishing Beach Read because it was so long ago. And I think when I was reading it, I wasn't even really I was a blogger, but I wasn't really as invested in the blogger sphere as I am. But in general, I really loved this. I thought it was super precious and charming. I liked the chemistry between the two of them. I also I love that one of them is a romance author. And I love the other one is a literary fiction, because I think that this kind of goes to what we can see where a lot of people will kind of look down on the romance genre. And I feel like those similar vibes were coming off of Beach Read and them having to work that out, but also work out how different they are and also how similar they are at the same time. So all in all, I liked Beach Read. It's not my favorite of them all, but I did enjoy Beach Read. The second one that came out was People We Meet on Vacation, and it's in my least favorite of all of the Emily Henrys. I had a few different issues with this one. The frequent time jumps between now and the past were really kind of confusing at the beginning, especially since you don't have a good enough sense about who these characters are individually. And then all of a sudden we're like, and this is how they were before, and this is how they are then. And this is it just was really jarring at first. And eventually, while you do get into it, because the time gaps between then and now start getting slower and slower, if anything, the plot kind of starts to go a little bit like that, where they meet and you're like, okay, now I understand. I'm not a fan of a lot of different time jumps. I think it's really hard to execute it really well in a way that doesn't either feel too fleeting or too absorbing. You have to really think about the purpose of a time jump. And when it's overused too much, then I have a really hard time with it. It's kind of like flashbacks. I think I heard a movie reviewer ages ago being like, if you're relying too much on flashbacks to tell a character's story, then there's something wrong. You shouldn't rely on flashbacks. And I agree with this one. You shouldn't necessarily rely on it. They should be used for a purpose and tastefully used. And I think it just got a little bit lost. Secondly, and this is a trope, or this is a thing I was going to say hate. I don't know how I feel about that, but this is a trope or thing that I really, 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 really don't like. But it is when something big has happened and no one knows what this big has happened, but we're not talking about it, and so the character never says it. First of all, we're in the character's head, and I, as a person, have a really hard time thinking about that thing I'm not supposed to be thinking about. And so I find it super unrealistic that if I was in the situation as a person and I never thought about it. And so the whole time for People We Meet on Vacation, we're not exactly sure what happened. And everyone's like, oh, and this thing happened and it was awful. And we're like, yeah, but what happened? Right? And I understand the tension. I understand it's for suspense. I understand. But when it's not executed well, where it's just oh my God, I understand now why. And when it's kind of oh, really? That's why? That was my vibe of People We Meet on Vacation. So ultimately, one of my least favorite ones, if not my least favorite one, I guess. And the next one after that is Happy Place, which, okay. I understand that the whole point of okay. At the beginning, when I was reading Happy Place, I was like, oh, it's cute. They talk about a happy place, but a happy place can be a person or, a community or even a place. I thought that was really cute. But then the amount of times happy place was mentioned in this audiobook, I was just like, oh my God, we get it. Okay, we get it. I think that, I read most of Emily Henry's books on audiobook, and Julia Whelan is the one who also always audiobook narrates these books. I think I read Happy Place really kind of closely on the tail end of a different book that Julia Whelan was not narrating, and that was really confusing. It was really confusing as well because as I was listening to Happy Place, I was like, wait, which one is this? Is this Happy Place? Is this like people we meet on vacation? What is going on right now? So that's on me. I fully admit that is on me. But yeah, Happy Place was just like not my thing. Also, I felt like the love interest was really probably my least favorite love interest. I was just kind of like, what is your deal? I felt like him as a person, we were never really sure who he was and what he cared about. Of all the love interests, he was just like my least favorite in the sense that I didn't really care about him, which kind of doesn't bode well because, you're supposed to care about them. To be fair, I did enjoy the friendship dynamics in Happy Place, but I found, at least in People We Meet on Vacation and some other stories, you can see this a lot when I talk about my Ali Hazelwood feel, so I'll link that down below for you, but sometimes the side characters can steal the show, and in Happy Place, they 100% stole the show from me. I was kind of like, but your friend, I want to hear more about your friend. Can we talk about them? And so all in all, when I kind of think about how I felt listening to Happy Place, I was just like, I wish it had given more of what I wanted to. Was it like my least favorite? No, but I just kind of wish it gave me more. I'm looking back at my review for Happy Place, but yeah, it was another kind of feeling of kind of what the heck happened between them. I love a good marriage in crisis. I love a good, marriage in crisis, but it was the same kind of thing that I was having trouble with People We Meet on Vacation. What happened? Why won't you tell us? Right on the heels of People We Meet on Vacation, this was really frustrating for me. Maybe if I had a lot more time in between these two books, then I would have felt a little bit different. I don't know, there were like things I liked, and then just the things I didn't like just outweighed all of the things that I thought it was going to be. So those were kind of my feelings. That being said, though, if you kind of like that idea, and if you like People We Meet on Vacation, you'll probably enjoy Happy Place because a lot of things are very similar to that. Next one was Book Lovers, and Book Lovers reminded me, okay, I actually like this. I like this a lot. Book Lovers is my favorite. Spoiler alert. I guess I was going to save the ranking for the end, but by the time you get to the end of the video, you'll be like, oh, we already know your ranking. But Book Lovers reminded me, oh, this is how I like this, right? I hadn't felt that way since Beach Read, and it had been 2 books, and I kind of felt like I was giving up. I was reading Book Lovers when I kept teasing this video idea to everyone, and I was kind of like, I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna do these books, and then I don't know if I'm gonna continue reading Emily Henry. But after Book Lovers, my hope was renewed. And so in Book Lovers, okay, I think what I liked about Book Lovers the most was the heroine was the closest to me as a person, right? If you as a person has ever felt like maybe you're a little bit too dark, maybe you're just like a little bit too unlovable, maybe just some part of you is kind of turning the world off on your existence, then you'll really enjoy Book Lovers. I also loved the sister relationship in Book Lovers, specifically not only the secrets they're keeping from each other, but the way that their dynamic evolves throughout the story. That is one of my favorite elements of Book Lovers. The love interest is my favorite of Book Lovers, hands down. Not only does he really complement the main character in it, and they have similar, not issues, but similar things that they're going through without being the exact same. It's kind of like they have different permutations of the theme of wondering if you're unlovable, wondering if just like you're no good for a person, if you're no good for anybody, if you're too abrasive. That was me to a T. But they go through things differently, that kind of same theme differently. But that's why I definitely love Book Lovers. It's my favorite. The love interest and the what's it called? I was going to say antagonist, but it's not an antagonist. The love interest and the main character were my favorite. I was listening to this on audiobook and I really enjoyed it. I felt like part of why I didn't really enjoy Happy Place as well was I felt like there were not enough kind of quirks, not enough character, not enough personality given to some of the characters, specifically the love interest, but also some other characters, and that was not the case in Book Lovers. I was talking to a different friend of mine when I was thinking about Book Lovers, and I was like, I don't know if I should read it. I was having a really hard time with Happy Place. You know, the personality, the characters, like where. And they specifically mentioned a whole list of things that they remembered about the characters in Book Lovers, and that, you know, gave me hope. And then finally, how I feel about Funny Story. So that was the most recent Emily Henry, which is why this video has taken so long. But I ended up listening to Funny Story in like less than a week. I really, really, really enjoyed Funny Story. I loved the banter. Hold on, where are my notes for this one? Because this is my most recent book, so I actually can give you kind of the raw feelings about Funny Story because I finished it earlier this week. But I love the banter between them. First of all, I love how united we can get about a bad ex, right? You know, I know a lot of things are like, oh, let's talk about an ex, right? Were they really so bad? No, okay? They were really bad. I love being united in my hatred of a person. And so I really liked Funny Story. And we get two of them for the price of one, essentially. But I think what I really loved about Funny Story, it's a close second. So basically my ranking is Book Lovers, Funny Story, Beach Read, Happy Place, People We Meet on Vacation. And so what I really loved also about Funny Story, and it has felt really personally relevant to me at least, is when you're in a relationship and you become so involved with that person, you lose all concept of who you are. And it's like a slow erosion process. You kind of lose your separate interests, you lose your separate friends, your separate hobbies, your separate TV shows, and you just kind of become a we person, which is so beautifully put in Funny Story. I love the side character best friend relationship or friend relationship in this one. That was one of the most insightful things that this person said, like a we person. And I think that that is entirely true as someone who has been a we person in the past and had to fight to become a me person. I think that that theme was so beautifully explored within it in a way that was both subtle and explicit. You know, we have explicit mentions of the whole kind of we idea, but then we have these, the main character is kind of struggling to figure out who she is, what she likes, is what she likes enough, can the people we find create a place, create a home for us. And so that was really touching. It was also just really, the banter was really fun. Like, it was managing to be emotionally devastating because it starts off with a pretty intense breakup, but also ends up being a story that had a lot of heart, a lot of humor, a lot of funniness to it. The main character, and specifically love interest, is also my second favorite. But I loved the way that he has to explore being happy, and like kind of confronting our own issues. I don't want to talk too much about it because obviously you should just read the book, but I'm deeply mistrustful as a person of people who are always happy all the time. Maybe that's just a reflection of my deep-seated jealousy for being so cynical and so, like, you know, as I talked about it before with Book Lovers, kind of just like abrasive maybe about it. But I just am so angry sometimes, all the time. And so I'm just like deeply mistrustful of people who are happy all the time. And so I really enjoyed not only this love interest character, but also the way that his character is given depth and given context. So that was my kind of raw reaction about how I felt about Funny Story. I haven't actually written my review yet. I finished it a couple days ago, and then I was like, I need to get this video out and I need to film it, because I've been promising it for a really long time. In fact, I also said that I was going to kick off this All About Authors series with Emily Henry, and then never did. And then Funny Story came out, and then it was just like a whole thing. So I'm finally glad that I was able to get this video out. Please let me know down below what your favorite Emily Henry book is, and maybe what, if I inspired you to read any of the Emily Henry books. You know, this whole series is kind of designed for if you had heard about the name a lot, you know, seen it a lot on maybe bookstores or online, and not really known what to start with. You're not really sure from the synopsises or like what you should start with. This was the whole point of the video. So I hope to see you in the next one. Also, please let me know down below other authors you think I should do this series for. I'm tapped out. Okay, I did the other ones, like, I don't know anymore. I wanted to do Katie Robert, but Katie Robert has written so many different books. I think I might have to just do series for the Katie Robert one. But if you're interested in Katie Robert, let me know down below. But I'm trying to brainstorm other authors I can do this for, but it's hard. It is tricky. So anyway, have a really great rest of your reading day, week, month, and rest of your year. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.